Hi, and thank you for watching TargetedWest.com. DJ Chris. This is show number 97. It's the 28th of January, 2024. This is our Sunday call. We're into the fourth industrial revolution as our topics, and we're talking about the terrorists in our head that torment us with the V2K. We have a guest tonight that I'll be giving a bio on. But I wanted to let you know that the temperature today was 69 degrees in beautiful Lodi. So it was a warm day here, and was lovely and quiet. I'm in my trusty RV, of course. And the opinions of the people on my call are that of their own and not that of Targeted West or DJ Chris. So here we go. Tonight is Midge Mathis. Midge Mathis has had a fierce passion for human rights and justice. In 2014, she became a TI after divorcing her wealthy DoD contractor globalist husband. She became one of the Targeted Justice's founders after the 2017 Unity and Hope Conference. Targeted Justice was started shortly afterwards. For many years, Midge worked as an EMT and an omnibudsman. She worked for 2 governors in Arizona on a medical board for behavioral health. Midge received her real estate license, becoming a land developer in Tucson, Arizona, and was a principal in starting her own real estate investment firm. It was after 9/11, of course, that the FBI asked her to contract with a garbage company. They wanted to do some surveillance, which she knew little about, so she became an accidental whistleblower on government corruption, committed to exposing crimes against humanity. She had 2 car accidents later and 2 spine surgeries in 2022. Coupled with the murder of her younger brother. She is no longer with Targeted Justice, but she still talks about the history of it and her participation in it and her continued effort to continue the movement forward. So without further ado, I have with me Midge Mathis. Hello, how are you?
Hi, Chris. I'm doing good. Thank you for having me here. It is an honor.
Thank you. She's done many interviews with Caravan to Midnight with John B. Wells. She was mentioned by Sean Hannity on his iHeart podcast. There's pictures of her dew burns, which we talked about earlier, were used in D.C. meetings with key people during the Trump administration. She has made 3 trips to D.C., visiting over 300 legislative offices, and you were telling us about that. That's an amazing feat that you were able to do that.
Well, if you haven't been to D.C., I encourage everyone to go because it's exciting, but when you go to visit the legislators, they're not all in one building, and the buildings are quite far apart. And take your walking shoes because you're going to get your exercise in. But it was a thrill. I was really happy to go there 3 times.
That's fantastic. And you said that some people whispered in your ear and said that they were targeted individuals.
Yes. A core group of the Targeted Justice team, on our first 2 trips, we visited with over 300 legislators. We had appointments. If we didn't have an appointment, we just stopped in. You can do that. You can just stop into their office. And we had information for them. We had a collage of, my burn pictures. And when you show folks those pictures, it is quite shocking. But what was, even more so was the fact that I was standing there. So they would comment and say, oh, my gosh, this poor person. And then Richard Lighthouse would say, yeah, she's standing right here. This is her. So we made quite an impact, and I'm very, very proud of all the activism that we did in D.C. So it was at that time, though, that I had several key people whisper in my ear, and some of them were the legislators, that they were also being targeted. No different than us, you guys. So I have always said this from the very beginning that I started, coming into the community. This is no secret. This is by far not a secret. But everyone was just so afraid to talk about it. But guess what? Those days are over. This is our time. So please speak up. Do what you can to get the word out there about this silent Holocaust, which is no longer, I used to hear all the time, plausible deniability. They don't say that anymore. And that is so great. So we have worked so hard for a long time. And I always say, I stand on the shoulders of great people who have gone on before me. There are so many great activists and folks who have been targeted, who have done great work. And can you imagine what it was like before the internet, what that was like to be a target, not realizing that there were other people out there going through what you were going through? So this is our time, and we are very blessed to be able to communicate with each other, to have, a podcast like Chris's and others so that we can gather together and share. I would like to talk about in just a little bit about how we can regain our lives and how we can help each other, because we must do that. That is a key piece to getting through this.
Helping each other is important, and doing that will make you feel better for sure, and it also helps the other person.
I have been so blessed. I have met wonderful people in the community who have been there for me, and so I have tried to do the same. But, I can tell so many stories about one person in particular who took me in when I was burned so badly. I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen my pictures. So that happened to me approximately 25 times, where I was so severely burned. A couple of them you can't even tell it's me. One time I had my circulation shut down, and my doctor was really on the fence. She thought I should have been in the burn unit because it was that bad. But I have had a lot of angels in my life, in the community, who have helped me, who, like I said, one person in particular was in Arizona, and she actually took me to a hotel room where we stayed for a number of days so I could heal, and then we got on the plane, and I went to Massachusetts with her and stayed with her for 3 months so that I could heal. And so it's Kate Ryan. If you all know Kate Ryan, I can't thank her enough. So that's what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to help each other. I always encourage everyone to do the buddy system, get to know people in the community.
I agree with that. I remember your conversation with Ella about that.
Mm-hmm. Get to know each other. Exchange, emails, phone numbers if you're comfortable. We might not always agree with each other, but by golly, we need to start helping each other. We need to be there. We share information. If I have like a circle of close TI friends that I have met over the years, and we check on each other almost every single day. We try to talk to each other almost every single day. Are you okay? What's going on? Is there anything I can do for you? Stuff like that. It's vitally important, and that will emotionally and psychologically help us get through all this. I mean, there's some of, the new TIs. I mean, I've been doing this for a long time, but I know some of you are new. And so coming to these podcasts, if you hear someone that you're like, what, I think I might get along with that person, get their phone number. Or I have people, I'll say, email me, and if you want their number, I'll ask them, because you always ask them first. I'll get the phone number to you. So share that information. Be there for each other. I no longer live in Phoenix. I moved out of Phoenix last year because it is just too bad. The target in Arizona is just horrendous. And if you're getting burned and then it's 120 degrees outside, it is no fun. So I have moved out of Arizona. I'm in Northeast Oregon now, where it's much cooler. I like it. I can get out in the country. I can go walking with friends. I have relatives here. But every day I talk to my TI friends, every single day. And I think it's important that you all do that. That's how we get through this.
That is true, and having friends that are TIs is very important. I have a couple of people that call, or I call to them. Yeah, and plus it limits the isolation they try to cause us. By talking to friends, you avoid isolation.
That's right. If you can get out, say someone's having a bad day and lives near you, go get them. Go do something. Go to lunch. Go take a walk. Just knowing that I have someone that I can call and I have bad days. It gets hard. So reach out and be a friend, and always remember that when you help others, you help yourself. Okay, because you get out of your own story. You get out of your own misery. And you talk to others who might be, going through something that's, worse than what you're going through. The targeting for people, it's basically the same, but it's different. I know that sounds really silly, but some people go through different things than what I might be going through. And I try to be understanding. I might not understand exactly what they're going through, but I'm going to listen to them. I'm going to lend an ear, and I'm going to give them some of my time. And that's Chris?
Keep going. You're right here.
Okay.
I think you got muted.
Yeah, I got muted for a while. Anyhow, so I just think that's so vitally important. Or you say, this is what I'm going through. Do you have any ideas, or what have you experienced? I think for myself, I've gone to full spectrum. I've been in the hospital so many times from being burned so horrifically. I've been lucky, and this is how I've been lucky. I have had some really great doctors who have supported me. And this is what they taught me years ago. TIs need to do the buddy system with doctors. If there is, it's a group of you, 2 or 3 of you in the same location, then you guys go to the same doctor. At one time, there were 5 of us in Arizona, and we went to the same doctor. And that helps, because then that doctor knows, oh my gosh, these folks are telling the truth. For me, because I am a patient of Dr. Staniger's, Hildegard Staniger, she has saved my life. That is no joke, because I had no clue what this was about. And she, I got scanned by Melinda Kidder way back in the day. And so I know exactly what has been done to my body, what has been put there without my consent. But it was Hildy who one time I had to go to the emergency room, and she called ahead of me getting there and talked to the emergency room doctor. And luckily, I had worked at that hospital in upper management. I'm from the medical field. The little intake nurse I had known since she was a little girl, but she didn't even recognize me. That's how bad it was. You don't ever go by yourself. You take somebody with you. So it went really well. I got a diagnosis of radiation burns. I've had every single doctor that I've seen has given that to me. I've just been so lucky in that respect. But, I mean, how can you deny it, you know? It's so horrific. So
it really is.
So horrific. But what I'm saying is that if you guys can do that buddy system, you know, of going to the same doctor, it really helps. Don't ever go to the police department by yourself. Always take somebody with you. Even if you're going, say you're going to go get some testing, try to take somebody with you. You know, that thing with, you know, having support, and you're stronger with, you know, a friend than if you were to be by yourself. So that's kind of my advice going through all this. I'm going to recommend that you all, you know, get outside in nature. Chris and I were talking last night about grounding, and that is really a healthy thing to do. If you don't have all the equipment to do physical grounding, take off your shoes and connect with the earth. That is called earthing. And, you know, Mother Earth has, you know, on this planet, it can heal us. And so a lot of us are lacking that. So get connected back to the earth. Find your joy. And I say this, live your life. Do not let this program take your life away. You are stronger than that. And there again, when you have the buddy system going, you can help each other with that. Because I know there's a lot of times those days are tough. Because what this program does is that, you know, not only does it make you sick, I mean, you know, there's just so many ways that they can try to take you down. And there's that thing called, and it's true, it's a behavioral health term called learned helplessness. You can look it up, and that's what this program does. If you can just push through it or get on the phone and talk to your friend or listen to some music, dance around. I'm known for dancing around a lot. So I crank it up and I get to dancing, and it really changes that energy within you. You know, I say it changes up the frequencies. So anytime you do that, you know, you're ahead of the game. And listen, guys, this is our time. But beyond that, we are very special. We already know what's coming down the pike. We already know what this evil cabal can do, okay? So you think they're going to do it to other people? Yeah. I mean, they're going to try to keep doing it until we shut it down, which will happen. But my point is that we need to be there for each other to help us all stay strong to get to the finish line. That is the main focus. One of the main focuses for me is that I'm going to get there no matter what. And I'm going to take my friends with me because I'm going to make sure they get across that finish line too. But you can do things to help yourself. Don't stay on the computer all day, because most of us are implanted. And I learned this a long time ago, and a lot of you guys don't know this person. But back in the day, we had a lot of professionals that were helping us. And sadly, most of them have gone by the wayside because they got targeted. But, you know, back in the day, we had psychiatrists, psychologists that were on our side. So my special friend at the time was Professor Curtis Bennett, and he was a professor out of British Columbia. And Professor Curtis Bennett saw my pictures and somehow got in touch with me. And that's kind of where I started my journey, because I didn't know that other people were going through this, and I sure as heck didn't know what was happening to me. So he taught me a lot. I have retained him to be my expert witness with the cell towers and the smart meters. So he taught me a lot from the get-go, how this stuff works and what to do and not what to do. So this is one of the key things he taught me. Don't stay on your computer all day because the implants work in conjunction with motors. So what happens, and Kathy O'Brien talks about this, there's two things you can do for yourself that are vitally important. One is that you are mindful of time. Don't let your day slip away and you're on that computer and all of a sudden you look at the clock and it's like, 6 o'clock and you don't know where the day has gone. That is like mind control. That is keeping you hooked to that computer. Don't do it. Be mindful of your time. Same way with your phone. I get so disgusted sometimes because, I'm always, where's that phone? Always on the phone. So I leave it behind. Whenever I go out, go walking, whatever, I leave it behind. Because, I'm probably older than most of you. I remember the day when we didn't have cell phones, for heaven's sakes. Oh my, how'd we ever get along?
Right, and everybody's got a cell phone around you, so I have one they can call for you.
That's right. One time, because for a while I was living in North Carolina, and I decided to go back to Arizona to fight this, and I left my phone in North Carolina, and I was flying, and was making 2 stops before I got to Phoenix to see people. And, I was like, how am I going to do this? Because I had somebody else waiting in Phoenix to pick me up. And luckily, I had written down key phone numbers. And that's another thing that I like to tell people. Write down key phone numbers. Keep them on you. So that if you lose your phone, you've got the numbers. And luckily, I had those phone numbers on me. Otherwise, I'd still probably be in Atlanta or something. But anyhow, so that day was kind of interesting. But I just asked people, do you mind if I borrow your phone? I left my phone back in North Carolina. And people were so kind. The airline people will help you. And so they were very good about letting me use their phone and stuff. But we get so connected to those phones. And it's not healthy, okay? The phones do emit radiation, and so and they can turn that up. So if you feel like you're getting burned by that phone, put it down. Get away from it. Don't sleep with it beside you, for heaven's sakes. Mine goes in a different room because that phone is still, sends out like a signal, and that's going to hit you. So put that phone in a different room. It's like, we can live without them. You can I have this phone carrier thing that will block the frequencies. It's something that I think I got from Less EMF. And so it's a pouch kind of thing, and you just slide the phone into it.
Faraday bag.
I think that's what it's called. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, and so also it blocks obviously the camera, but it also blocks the microphone. And so I use that oftentimes when I'm traveling or at an appointment or something like that. So, there is so much we can do to help ourselves. But it's so important to get to know each other. I was talking to Chris last night, and we brought up a really dear friend of mine, both of ours, that I just miss so much, Linda Costanzo. I know a lot of you guys don't know her, but she was a key person in the community for many years, and she passed away. And I just miss her to this day. But these friendships that you establish will become lifelong friends. So with that, I think I've met more people in person than anybody in this community. I've traveled. At one time, I traveled all over. I was holding events, meeting TIs. I did the first TI day in Chicago with key people. Dr. Matthew, he was there.
Doug Cruz.
Doug Cruz. Oh gosh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's a good friend of mine.
Yeah, Dougie is just awesome. He
He's a
started out
sweetheart. Yeah, we love him.
sweetheart. Um, so, so there were key people there. We had so many people show up. I had so many people who had never met a TI. We had folks who traveled from all over for that first TI day in Chicago, and we had a blast. We had so much fun. I think because Doug Cruz was living in Chicago at the time, and you know what? Targeted individuals are such kind people. They are so good that it breaks my heart when I meet somebody new because it's like, why would anyone do this to you? So, but it was also organized. Doug Cruz picked us up at the airport, and then we did this thing. Let's see how many people we can fit in Doug Cruz's car. And that was a lot of fun. We all reverted to like we were in high school. And we just had a blast. We had this really phenomenal day at the Daily Center. And then afterwards, we had like 50 people going out to dinner and just sharing and sharing phone numbers and sharing stories. And, all that is so important. We're humans first. Get in touch with that. Have empathy. They can't take that away from you. Don't let them take your joy. Like I said, we've all had bad days. That's why you pick up the phone or you go take a walk, call someone. But, don't sit there in your misery by yourself, for heaven's sakes. In Phoenix, I had a food pantry so that if somebody needed food, I had food on hand that I could give someone. These are the things that you do. I also had a clothing that I would have for TIs, because I had TIs that would come through town, and they hardly didn't have anything. I don't know if you all know who Byron Coffrin is, but he was a huge whistleblower that was in the community for a while. He worked for the other side, and he defected. And so I met up with him, and he had nothing. So went out to lunch, gave him a little bit of money and some other things. But that's what we do for each other. And that's how we're going to get through this, because we are going to win.
Yes, and this is going to continue through 2024, and we're going to end this hopefully this year, and we will all have time to socialize and visit and not have to be fighting so much. But it's worth the fight because there's so many people that don't have a voice out there.
That's true. That is so true. I connect with a lot of people on Twitter. There's a huge group of TIs on Twitter, so if you're not on there, go to Twitter. What's so cool about Twitter is that, and it's called X now, but I still call it Twitter, is that you can interface with, so many different people, not just in the community, but people from all over the place. And, like I have General Flynn who follows me, and I've got other key people, and they know what's going on, trust me. So that's where I saw that, Liz Cronkin is a targeted individual, and I was listening to Roseanne Barr, was listening to one of her videos the other day, and she came right out and said it. She goes, you know what? I'm a targeted individual. Oh, my heavens. So, more and more it's going to happen, and we all should feel really good for all of us who have done such activism, to get to this point. And I encourage all of you to step up and do just that.
Yes, and I'm working on working with the producers of Roseanne Barr's podcast to try to at least get her son to come on our call.
Oh, he's so awesome. Jake?
Jake, yes, awesome. I'd like to have him come on at least.
Yes, he's just so cool. And, he and his mom work so good together. I enjoy watching them.
That's my favorite show, yeah.
I know. They're just so cool. I know. I'd love to meet them both. But some of the other big names that are TIs that have come out and said so is Randy Quaid. Van Morrison, the singer, he has written a song called I Am a Targeted Individual. It came out 2 years ago, and he has another song on that same album about being a targeted individual. And, of course, Senator Ron Johnson. There's another senator, and I don't say his name out loud because he asked me not to, but he whispered in my ear that he is also a targeted individual. So it's going to happen more and more. Keep your eyes peeled for, celebrities and athletes or whatever who are coming out now because it's getting to be more comfortable for them to do so. Years ago, when I was in Massachusetts, because I was trying to heal from being burned so severely, I met this really neat doctor who was being targeted. He asked to see me, and so we drove into Boston to meet with him. And we don't always understand, why the doctors aren't saying more. We get upset with the doctors. And meeting this person really has opened my eyes and my heart to being more understanding of others. So with that, I want you to understand that the doctors are under a tremendous amount of stress because targeting people, and it goes against, their oath to do no harm. But this is what's happening to the doctors. The suicide rate is higher amongst the doctors than with the vets. This is why. Because, if they buck the system and they stand up for what they believe in, this is what's happening to them. They're given two choices. Either you go put yourself into a mental facility for 3 months at your own expense, or we'll take your license away. And a lot of these doctors are choosing to have their license taken away because they know what happens when you go into a mental facility, especially being a doctor. So that's what's happening to the doctors. So I fell into a huge group of doctors that are being targeted. They are still holding back. They haven't come out yet. And I'm just waiting for the day that as a group they will do that. I've been privileged to I have joined some of their Zoom classes. So I've gotten to hear firsthand what some of these doctors are going through, and it's horrific. It's absolutely atrocious what a lot of them are going through, and the suicide rate is extremely high because it's like the one doctor explained to me. He says, look, there are a lot of good people, but they're caught in the middle. He said, we sign on the dotted line to sign a contract to work for a corporation or whatever, and then they switch it up on you, and then you can't get out of it. And if you try to do anything or you buck the system, then you get targeted. So I try to be very mindful and understanding. Maybe I don't understand everything, but I certainly can be empathetic. So there's a whole group of doctors that are being targeted. So we are far from the only ones. There are so many people. As I say it, everyone's being targeted in one way or another.
That's true. My telepathy brings up my immune disorder doctor that had to quit because the rent for his Los Altos office was too high. So he just went and worked for a corporation, but they chant his name all day long. So somehow my people in my head are after my doctor. And I asked them why, and they said because he was trying experimental treatments that weren't legal.
Well, I don't know if I would believe any of that. Don't believe what they tell you.
Oh, I don't believe them, but they bring his name up of everybody, so he must have really upset them.
Now, probably because he's a free thinker, and
Well,
he probably
he was a great
yeah,
doctor. Yeah, he was great.
yeah. So, and attorneys are no different. I once contacted an attorney, and she said, "Wait a minute, you're getting stalked." She goes, "This is what's happening to attorneys. If you're getting stalked, they're going to start stalking me." And that's how they get a lot of attorneys to, not do anything. I know of one attorney, we had this really great attorney at one time, and he got jumped in a parking lot and they broke his back with a bat. So please be understanding. You don't know the stress that somebody else might be going through. Like I said, we're
Right,
not
and especially a professional that has a lot to lose, and they know that these people that are against us, and they know they can play that against a professional.
Absolutely. So it's worse than what you think. So I'd like to go on, Chris, and just talk about some of the things people can do to help themselves, to protect themselves. Is that okay?
That would be a great idea. Let's continue. Go ahead. You're listening to TargetedWest.com with Midge Mathis. Go ahead.
Thank you. So, if you're being assaulted by radiation, there are key things that you can do, which I learned from Dr. Duncan many years ago. One is you get in water, because water will stop the emanations. So you get in a tub of water or you get in a shower if you can. And I know you can't always do that, but please, the water helps tremendously. You can buy water pillows. It's the water pillows that really saved me. So I bought, I have water pillows, and you get them online. And then when you get them, you fill them up with water, and you put just a little bit of bleach in them so you don't start growing stuff. And then you just pack those water pillows around you. So one night I was getting shot at. I felt like it was like a machine gun. That is no joke. I counted 167 shots in 1 minute that they were just firing at me. And I could tell that I could hear the shots trying to get through the water pillow, and they can turn it up. And I could hear, and I started counting the shots, and I thought, maybe 167 shots in 1 minute, that seems like very extreme. So it wasn't the following week, Richard Lighthouse said, "Oh my gosh, the same thing happened to me." And he said, I started counting, and it was 167 shots. So it's like a machine gun. But it was the water pillow. I could hear those shots having a hard time getting through the emanations, and it never did get to me. So I encourage people to get water pillows, or you can just fill up, bags of water and put around you. I mean, that helps tremendously. Or, you can get the, water bottles and put those around you, but that helps a lot. In the early days,
Lily in the comment section says water bends the waves of energy and weakens their reach to your mind. That is why water feels so good. And she takes, Lily Bell, 2-hour showers.
Yeah. Or soak in the tub, because at the same time you want to be detoxing. You want to detox this stuff out of your body. So, I've been detoxing for years. You can detox some of the implants. You can melt some of the implants. There's just a lot of things that you can do to get your body healthy again, to get it back. And, all of our bodies have changed, and, we all have changed, but that doesn't mean that our lives are ruined. That doesn't mean that we can't regain our lives. And I know that sounds really simple, but I have worked years to regain my life. And, there was a time where I just couldn't find any humor. I was very sad, obviously. I was in shock. How could you not be? But then slowly, I started listening to other people who knew more than me, and Kathy O'Brien was one of them. And I slowly found myself regaining my sense of humor, my joy for life, because I thought my life was over. It's not over. Are you kidding me? Far from it. And I will say this, and I know a lot of you probably won't like this, but the targeting has made me a better person. I thought I was an okay person before because I felt like I helped a lot of people, and my heart is full of joy and love of life. But I truly am a better person now, having gone through what I've gone through and having met so many wonderful people who are being targeted. And, I've heard so many stories, and I've had people send me letters, and it truly just breaks my heart. And if that doesn't open up your heart to care for other people and to find empathy and sympathy, then I don't know what will. But don't let these guys take away your joy. I used to get on the phone with Ella, and we would stay on the phone until we made the other person laugh. And sometimes it took a while, but by golly, we wouldn't get off the phone till we were laughing, because that laughter changes up everything. So I have people now who tell me they wouldn't even know I was targeted, because I can go all day and not think about the targeting anymore. I used to think about it 24/7. That's what they want you to do. Don't do it. So it's like Bill Binney said, you can turn this back on them, and that's what they don't like. So if you're having, if you've regained your life, you have your joy and you have your love for, others, and that's, for me, that's the key. I mean, I find beauty every day or something. I try to either listen to beautiful music, or I look at beautiful paintings, or, talk or read a poem or whatever to restore that beauty in my life that I have loved all my life. Unfortunately, I do like to cook, and I eat a lot of good food. And it doesn't have to be expensive. And Ella and I we did a whole show one time about how to eat, how to eat on a dime and still eat well. Because I know a lot of folks don't have a lot of money. I've been there. Do you know that I have?
Yeah, we cook a lot now to save money because we have no money, so we don't go out to eat.
No, but there's so many things you can do at home, and have wonderful meals. I mean, I think I can tell you 25 different ways, how to use corn tortillas or flour tortillas, and a little bit of hamburger meat, and there's all kinds of things you can do. But Ellen and I did a whole show one time on recipes. It's seriously, my heart goes out to the ones who are homeless. I've had people call me who are homeless. I hope that I wish I could have done more, but there are people. I had a phone call one time from a guy who was living in the forest because they were hunting him down like a wild animal. I've had people call me from caves. There are some folks that are living in caves. One group was in West Virginia, and because the caves will block their frequencies if you can go in deep enough. And they had made their cave quite sophisticated. They had running water, and they had all kinds of stuff. When I wake up in the morning, I think it's the hardest for a lot of folks, because you wake up, bam, it hits you. My gosh, how did this happen to me? So the first thing I do in the morning for myself, I am a Christian, I'll say a prayer. But I also think about what my brothers and sisters are waking up to. how they're waking up, where are they. So, so don't think that you are alone. You are not alone. You are not alone at all. I encourage you to sign up for newsletters. There's so many great people in the community. They have great websites. Chris has a great website. Chris, your website is incredible.
Thank you.
People have newsletters. Sign up for all the newsletters that you can. They're free. There's a lot of great information out there. There's a lot of great books. Some of my favorite books that I have read, and I know there's others that I haven't read, but some of my favorite books are Dr. John Hall, Guinea Pig. Dr. John Hall has been targeted. He has been a friend to the community for many, many years, and his book is excellent. Another one is Dr. Duncan. He wrote volume 1 and 2 of Project Soul Catcher. Yeah. It's that volume 2, though, that gave me key information. And I kept reading. He would, talk about a program, but then he had it in acronym form because government loves acronyms. So I do a certain type of research, and I took those acronyms, and I was able, to come up with a lot of great information that I did not know before. So, these guys are amazing. Speaking of Dr. Duncan, look, guys, these folks stick their necks out. They put themselves in harm's way when they speak out. And Dr. Duncan has been there for the community, and it always hasn't been easy for him.
No, matter of fact, he's told us that he got V2K now.
I was so disgusted the other day on social media. Someone came into a conversation with Dr. Duncan and said the most horrific, horrible things to him and used the worst language ever. I was so embarrassed, and I felt so sorry for him. He doesn't deserve that, you guys. None of the professionals do. You might not understand everything, and that's okay, but no one has the right to kick out at anyone like that and then treat them so crappy. And I was horribly embarrassed, and I won't obviously say who that person is. The other thing also, another book is called No Ordinary Stalking. This person
by June T.I., perhaps? June T.I.?
June T.I., that's not her real name.
I figured that out. That's in our book club, by the way. And just let me do a quick pitch. If you want to join the TI book club, go to bookclubs.com/TI book club/join/. Sorry about that. Go ahead, Midge.
I think that's awesome. I love what you're doing, Chris. I think
Thank you. We have 117 people in the book club, and I read a book every 2 weeks, and I share it with the club, and we get people to buy books and read them, even though it's hard to read for some people.
If it's hard to read, then you know what? Find someone to read it to you. Read it together.
Or they can do the Audible. I do all my books on Audible. That way you can have a voice to hear it.
That is so great. That is really needed. The educational part of all this is vitally important. I just remember back in the day, I just didn't know what the heck was going on. I knew my ex-husband was involved, but I didn't know how or what or anything.
Yeah, I was in the same boat too. So are you interested in having a Q&A session with the audience?
Yes, sure.
Okay, let's go ahead and switch modes. Okay, everybody's muted. Midge, go ahead and hit *6 to unmute yourself, and we'll continue. Do you have any questions for Midge Mathis? Right now is the time to ask. Come on in.
Hello?
Hello, come on in.
Hi, my name is Gina, and I think this might be the first time I'm... Hi. I think this might be the first time I'm calling this particular call. It's so nice to hear your voice.
Gina, I know who you are. I think I do.
You? Oh, no, I think there's several Ginas.
Okay, well, it's nice to meet you.
Yeah. I do go to Minnie's call at night, so I don't know if you go to that one. Sometimes James's call.
No, I haven't. I left the community for a while for health reasons, and so I'm just now coming back into the community. I never left, but I had several very serious.
Break.
I had
You
two
took
car accidents.
a pit stop, basically.
I took a pit stop. Yeah. That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Well, I wanted to put myself out there as because I do look for people to call and check in on, and also for them to check in on me. And I don't know if that would be an okay thing for me to do with either of you, or I don't know if y'all would feel comfortable with that. But I'm just putting it out there.
Well, you can always email me at djchris@targetedwest.com, and I can hook up with you. No worries.
Oh, and Gina.
Okay, yeah, I'm on the phone.
Here's my email address. Anybody can, email me, and we go from there. It's Midge, MIDGE, Mathis, MATHIS, @gmail.com. Email me.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you.
You bet.
Okay, our question for Midge Mathis. Come on in.
Hello.
Hello, sir. Come on in. Gentleman's next.
Are you there?
Hi.
Hi.
Who?
This is you. Can you hear me?
Hi.
Hello. Hi. Okay. Thank you.
Hold on a moment. We have a gentleman speaking first. Go ahead, gentleman.
Oh, okay.
Hi. Thank you, DJ Chris, and thank you, Midge, for everything. My name is Victor. I've been a target since childhood, but I didn't know until a few years ago. If it didn't become overt, I would have lived and died not knowing I didn't have myself and didn't have free will, and my whole life was being planned. They made me not me 1,000 ways, and they still do. Part of what I get is types of cognitive targeting and control that I don't even know the words to put to it. I keep coming up with words to explain what they're doing, like backspacing my head and gatekeeping my head, and my mental continuity is very diminished. My memory is sectioned. My mental faculties, I could be staring at words and suddenly I can't read anymore. I'm looking at the letters and I just can't read anymore. It happens watching something, hearing something, trying to read it. And the whole day goes in this type of spinning around in their weapons and torture paralysis. And it's worse when I'm outside the home. It's part of the isolation. I hardly ever leave home because it's really atrocious when I leave home. They lock up my head and program behavior. And they put these kinds of holograms into my consciousness about what to do. It's very, and I remember from the declassified documents that I've read that, they had people under types of hypnosis, and they didn't even know that they were, providing information on different groups or going to other countries and giving messages to spies and stuff, and then being put back in hypnosis and coming back. And I have a feeling that that's the type of thing they did to me. Because I'm remembering some things that now make sense to me more from when I was traveling before I knew I was targeted. They section my head 1,000 ways. It's very hard to be any kind of functional at all. And I don't know what to do about it because it's been day after day. And they lock up the faculties of, let's say, time. and locality and three-dimensionality, the kind of a kind of flattening effect of not just space but of life. And I don't know what to do. I've been to Melinda Kidder, I've been to Staninger, I have a report from someone else also that knows about this stuff. I don't know what to do because I can't fight it. I tried lots of detoxes. I tried magnets. Nothing helped. Being in water does help, but none of the other stuff has helped me at all. And I don't know what to do because the cognitive control and making me not me and the sectioning my head, I don't know what to do because I don't live.
Can I just jump in here for a second? Because we've had the same doctors and stuff, and I know who you are, okay? I know who you are. I've heard your name before. So I know you've been given a lot of advice and so forth and so on. To stay inside your home is one of the worst things you can do. You know that. It's really vitally important that you get out, get away from it, because they've got these beams going into your home, okay, because they know you're going to stay there. So you need to step outside of that, and you need to get outside. You need to, exercise, get in water. I know that you've been given some advice here and there. Like I said, I know who you are. And so you've got to move forward. You've got to, because you've been a TI for a while. You've got to move forward. You've got to step out, follow through with the advice that people have given you. Because I don't think, listening to what you're saying, I've been through a lot of this with the holograms, exactly what you're describing. But it was when I started getting active and I started putting one foot in front of the other. And also when I started reaching out to other people, because it's not just about me. When you start helping other people, you're going to find that your life is going to get better.
Yeah. There are some TIs I'm in contact with, but when they turn up the pain and when they turn up the locking of my head outside, I don't even feel like I'm outside. I can't breathe. I can't think. I can't feel. I lose my bearings. I forget the way back home. It's I do try. But
if I could just also tell you that, guys, what they're doing is they're hitting you while you're driving, okay? So wear some protective headgear. You can even get a lead headgear that is kind of, I've seen it, somebody sent it to me. And, listen, I've had all kinds of stuff like that I've had to use when I've been so badly burned. So you can do that. It's those lead aprons that they use in the medical field?
I have them.
Oh, well, do you have the headgear?
I do. I ordered it on Amazon years ago. And I'll tell you the truth.
You're getting hit when you're getting, so a lot of us get hit. That's how I got burned so badly. So this is what you do. Be proactive. This is how you tell. And I put this up on Twitter the other day because I had an example of what that looks like on your windshield. So you pull your car into the sunlight as the sun is setting, and you can see on your windshield. If you see circles, that's radiation from a cell tower, and you're getting hit. And listen, I've been through this. They were hitting my grandson as he was riding with me. And so you look for those circles, and also the integrity of the windshield will start breaking, and it gets little stars all over. Just keep pushing forward. But don't sit at home, because that's where they want you. Mother Nature is where we're supposed to be. That will help to heal you. Go to the beach, walk barefoot. Just do all those things. Because, I have experienced exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I'm sorry you're going through that. But you've been doing this a while. So, but if I can just stress to you, help others, because when we get out of our own story, magic happens. Magic absolutely happens when we care about others.
I agree. It works. Trust me.
I can vouch for that.
I call it service. You're giving service. Yeah, Laura, what's up?
Hi, I met Midge. I would like to say hi to Midge. I met her back in DC, 2019. It was amazing.
Thank you.
She was amazing. I didn't realize that she drove or walked so far. I thought they were driving that day. So that's funny that they were walking all around that day. And we did get to visit and have dinner, and it was amazing. And it was funny that you said everything you said tonight is what you told me back then, and that's what I've been doing, and it is so helpful. You've got to have a buddy system. All that you said, I was thinking, well, I hadn't listened to Chris's advice earlier, and I was thinking I need to start listening to more advice, but I listened to all that advice back then. And
Lord.
That, so thank you so much. Yeah.
You're so sweet. Laura is one of the ones that has helped other people. And so what she's talking about is that Targeted Justice held a rally in D.C. in 2019, and I was just overwhelmed. What happened that first night, the first dinner? Every night we had a dinner at a different restaurant, and then everybody would gather at the end of the day and go to the dinner. So what happened that first night is that, we picked this restaurant, and they were so accommodating. Well, what happened is that we had so many tables reserved, long tables, big tables, and the people just kept coming through the front door. And I couldn't believe it. We had people from different government offices that were there, big departments. They were scared. Some of them were scared to death. So a lot of these government departments, people are being targeted. The people just kept coming, and the people in the restaurant that owned the restaurant were so nice. They just kept shoving tables together. I'm selling T-shirts or doing all kinds of stuff, but the people were so kind. I was overwhelmed emotionally with the response that all these folks were coming. We had, I don't even know how many people showed up. I lost count. There were so many. But it was just the beginning of a wonderful time because
Incredible.
we got a lot done that trip. So what we did is that every day we had something planned, something big. So some of us went out to the CIA. I have protested at the CIA 6 times personally. That in itself is quite an experience because, none of this is easy. You got to drive out from D.C., and we timed it so that we would get there when the first shift started. That means I was out there on the side of that highway at 6 in the morning. And then we would go back after standing out there for at least 2 to 3 hours with our banners. We had professional banners made up. We had a lot of support from the employees. People would honk their horns. They would do a thumbs up because we had one banner that said, stop, do torture of civilians. And we had so much support. People were so kind. I couldn't believe it, but they wanted us to know that they understood and that they were with us. So
it's absolutely incredible.
Oh, it's amazing. So we did that. Now that was okay. So I've been out there 3 different trips. So because we actually did 3 trips to D.C. in 1 year. And it was boom, boom, boom. Like we just didn't give them a chance to breathe. Like we would no sooner get home, turn around and go back. And we did this at our own expense, okay? Nobody paid but us. Like we paid for everything. So then the second day or the third day, we went out to the intelligence headquarters. And don't think they weren't shocked because here all of a sudden, and it's in the forest, it's towards Langley, Virginia. And so as you drive out there, you guys, you're shocked because there's all these mansions. And you're thinking, oh my gosh, these people, look how they live. And here they are torturing us. So it is the CIA that runs the torture program, because this program is very organized, okay? It's not happenstance. No, it's very well organized. So,
according to Richard Lighthouse, 45% of all TSDB entries and such are from the CIA.
yes, or the FBI. But the CIA runs the torture program that's torturing you. So, but that one day we went to intelligence headquarters. Oh my gosh. I'd see, because it said over this hill, and I would see these cars drive out, and then they'd see us, and they would do a U-turn really fast, like, holy smokes, who are these people? And then they'd go flying up over that hill. Some of them were airborne, getting back to the headquarters to tell everybody that we were out there and the cat's out of the bag. We're calling you out on what you're doing. So we did that, and then we blanketed the whole entire area of D.C. We had some folks with banners at one area, one group, another group in front of the White House, another group, over by the Capitol. And so I was really proud because, that's not easy to do. Some people had never been on the metro. We had to, put out a map for everybody. We were too afraid to let everyone know ahead of time what our plans were for like the next day, so we would put it up on the website like the night before. And that's how we communicated, because if they knew anything, then they would try to,
Gotcha. Does anyone have a question for Midge?
I just wanted to say that was okay. Got there and I appreciate.
Thank you, Laura. Q, did you want to speak?
Yes, please. I want to share some stuff and make a couple comments here. I've got to get going. But anyway, I wanted to share, I've been trying to share on the calls different resources that I've found doing research. So the first two are Dr. Peter Levine and Dr. Gabor Mate, M-A-T-E, and they both do, they're experts on trauma and healing and toxic culture. The second thing I want to share is jbjsf.org, and he has 3 restaurants. This is John Bon Jovi, who has 3 restaurants that cater to the homeless and the public in New Jersey and New York. And then the Honest Guys have breathing exercises, and Dr. Peter Levine does too on one of his YouTubes. I shared with Derek today a link that perhaps Chris you can get from him. I don't really want to say it on a call, but he'll know what I'm talking about if you contact him.
Okay, very nice.
Roseanne Barr was on Joe Rogan's show. She did and she came right out just like Midge said. And then the last thing I want to say is, I think Derek first told me about The Long Con, which is that song by Van Morrison.
We have it on the hold music on this call.
Oh yeah, you do. Yeah, on the first sentence. So that's it. Thank you so much. And
Thank you.
Oh, Midge, I was wondering how long you've been in the program.
Okay, well, here's the truth. I first got implanted when I was 19 years old, and I'm really old now, but that was way back in the day. The Navy did that to me when they did oral surgery. And I have evidence of that, which I have released just recently to Targeted Justice. I have my x-rays where you can see the implant.
You're not the only one I know that's had dental implants. That's incredible. We'll talk about that another time. Wow, Midge.
Yeah, so I have been technically a TI for over 40 years.
Oh, my God.
But I didn't know it. It was only in 2014 that I really became aware of everything. And luckily, I'm just so grateful that I took the path that I took, and that I went to the conference in Boston that Allison put on, who's just a lovely lady. She's not active in the community anymore. But she and the New England group put on that wonderful conference in Boston, and that's kind of where it all began. I met so many wonderful people, and that's where I sat next to Richard Lighthouse for 3 days, and he had never seen my pictures before, and I was a guest speaker, and Dr. Matthew had my pictures, and he was doing a presentation, and Richard Lighthouse said, "Is that you?" And I said, "Yes." And because I had not released any of the pictures, I mean, I didn't even know where to go. So at the end of the third day, I leaned over and I said to Richard Lighthouse, "I have this idea. How would you like to, do it with me? Because I've always believed that we need to create a TI army, and that is what we are. Everyone needs to get active. I'm going to encourage everyone, and I know this isn't, you can send an email, but contact your legislators, okay? And this is what you do, because I've learned from going to D.C. 3 times. I was in touch with my legislators, my local legislators in Arizona, and I realized that, it might have been easier for me because I have worked for 2 different governors for the state of Arizona for the Board of Behavioral Health. So I had a lot of connections. But I did meet up with my district rep, which is Debbie Lesko. I had an appointment with her. She has been very kind, very wonderful. But they all have taught me that this is what you do. If you email them or you leave a message, don't give them 20 pages, okay? You make it short and sweet because everybody's busy. And they get a little irritated because they're running here, running there, and they don't have time. So they taught me, don't talk about the implants. There's nothing they can do. It's about civil rights. It's about the fact that our Second Amendment right is, being taken from us. It's about, all this stuff being non-consensually done to us, being labeled and put on the terrorist watch list. That each one of us has a dossier on us, just like the Steele dossier against President Trump. Each one of us has a dossier, and it all goes through the FISA courts with the corrupt FISA judges. What I'm telling you is true. When I told somebody this, they couldn't believe it. They're like, I just thought they picked up the phone and said, "Oh, look, so-and-so is in your area. You need to go out there and kind of stalk her." No, this is a highly well-oiled machine, and each department plays a part in our targeting. So it's the FBI that runs the surveillance, that works with the fusion centers. Okay, that's where all the stalking and everything is run out of. The stalkers are low men on the totem pole. They are controlled like us. They make no decisions, okay? They are told what to do. This was told to me. I had a wonderful friend who was the police chief where I got targeted. I did a presentation to the police chief and his detectives and his secretary, and halfway through, the chief put his hands up and he goes, "We believe you. We know what's happening." And he said this to me, "You need to listen to me." He said, "This is why they stalk you. It's because they want to, it's a distraction. They don't want you to focus on what is important, the bigger picture. So they keep you all stirred up. And trust me, I've been stalked forever. I don't care anymore. They can stalk me from noon, from morning to night. I don't care. I don't pay them any attention because why would I? It doesn't do any good. They're not the big cheeses. I'm after the big cheeses, you guys. I'm after the people who are doing this to us.
Gotcha.
And that was always the focus of targeted justice. not about these little peons that are they're being controlled just like us.
They
And I
are.
can talk about,
Let's see if someone else has a question for you before we turn off the recording. Any more questions for Midge Mathis?
I have a question.
Midge.
Come on in.
Yeah, this is Charlie. I'm in Arizona, Scottsdale, Arizona.
Oh, Scottsdale. Hi.
Hi. And you're right. It's pretty bad here. I've been getting hit with radiation. I have a radiation detector. And I don't think I've been burned as bad as you have. But I can't leave my house even to get my mail without getting hit. I carry the radiation detector with me. You said you left Arizona, and you're getting, and you're up in Oregon. Is it a lot better up there in Oregon? Obviously.
Well, because I'm out in the country. I moved from Phoenix, which that's over 5 million people now, and I moved to a community of 450 people. But I'm out in the country because you know what? I'm going to have fun. I'm not going to live in a city where it's so horrific. The corruption in Arizona, as you well know, is off the charts, and the deep staters all have second homes in Scottsdale. So I know a lot about that because I was married to somebody in the deep state. So I defected. I'm a defector, and that's one of the reasons why they came after me so badly. But but you know what? If I can just get you, and I'll be happy to talk to you. But we can. If you want to email me, I'll give you my phone number. Because this is okay. So this is what I'd like you to try to do, and I know it's not easy because I've been there. Do not let them isolate you. We all get hit, but what you do is you keep going, and eventually they give up. Okay? You're going to beat them at their own game. That's what you do. You do not let them do this to you. You still live your life. And I've been there. I know what you're talking about. But I'm also on the other side now, and you can regain your life. And this is also what Kathy O'Brien says. You can regain your life. And I'd like to help you do that if I can.
Yeah. I'm leaving the state. I already submitted my my notice here in the apartment complex, and I had enough. So I haven't decided where I'm going to live, but I'm going to leave Arizona.
It's just so hot there.
I realize that. But I was gang stalked for years, and then I don't know if it's a coincidence or intentional, but after I reported the gang stalking to the FBI a couple of times, that's when the radiation started. So I don't know. I assume that was the reason why they started hitting me with the radiation, because I filed a couple of complaints with the FBI.
Yeah, that's standard for, I hate to say it, just about everybody. But I wanted to ask, if you don't mind me asking, I just have a question. No, because I'm very familiar with the Phoenix FBI. I've been there, been a contractor with the FBI, but I have to tell you all that my name was on the company, but I knew nothing what the business partners and everybody were doing. They kept me in the dark. I didn't even understand for the longest time. But the FBI agents have been very kind to me. But I go in person. You know that you're supposed to go in person. If you want to file.
I did.
Oh, good. Okay, so you went to the big new place, that big, huge building on that back road off of, 7th Avenue or 7th Street?
No, I left Phoenix and went down to Vegas, where this all started, and I filed. I didn't get past the guard. I just filed a report with the guard and submitted it at the time.
Oh, okay. Because yeah, I want to tell everyone how this works. If you go to the FBI, they have like a little guardhouse, and it's security, so you have to get through there first. You can't take any electronics inside. You have to leave your phone, everything in your car. And so once you get through security, which is off by itself, then you walk up to the big building. Once you go inside, there's a lobby, and there's 2 windows. And so somebody comes out, and you have to fill out a form. They won't talk to you until you fill out that form because they're going to check you out. Then once that's done, agents will come out and get you and then take you into a room, and everything is recorded. So that's how that works. They don't like to take reports over the phone. I know a lot of people call in. They get really disappointed, but they don't do that over the phone. You have to go in person. So that's how that works with them. But good for you. I mean, listen, you're trying, and that's all we all need to do.
Yeah.
You know,
but in Vegas, you don't get past the guard. They don't even let you pass the guard. You just fill out the form and submit it. And that's it. And they'll get back to you. And I had a human rights attorney. I didn't hire, but he was such a nice man. He actually answers his own phone when I was in Vegas, and he had somebody on the he knew somebody in the FBI, and they wouldn't give him any information about me at the time. They said because I wasn't his attorney.
Yeah.
But then it's when the radiation started.
Gotcha.
And I've been in, and I left the country. I've been in 6 different countries in 6 months to try to get away from this. And I've been harassed on the airplanes, in the hotels, and you know, I've been as far as Beirut and Chile. And
oh my, that's wild.
Wow.
And Beirut is actually the least amount of radiation I've been hit when I was in a hotel. But down in Chile, it was pretty bad. And they have a law in Chile with neuromonitoring law. But Delta was pretty bad, and American Airlines is pretty bad with the gang stalking and the attacks. You know.
Well, I wouldn't fly with American Airlines or anything because I've had a lot of experience with them. And, you know, if you happen to sign seating, you know, guess what they're going to do. But if you go with somebody like Southwest, because it's open seating, if you can fly Southwest, that's what I would do.
Southwest is the best. Delta is horrible, too.
Does anybody else let's go ahead and get the next question in line. We're extending the show. So if it's okay, thank you for your question, sir.
Sure.
Did you guys want to exchange phone numbers first? Or
well,
email?
I don't give out my phone number.
I mean email, I meant.
Oh, the email?
So, I'd be happy to give you my email. It's Midge, M-I-D-G-E, Mathis, M-A-T-H-I-S, at gmail.com.
At gmail.com. Yeah, my name is, I'm cbergando at yahoo.com. So I'll email you.
Please do. I would love to talk to you.
Very cool. Next person in line at the Midge Mathis meeting. Come on in. Hello.
Hi. I just want to thank you so much for speaking today. You're a beautiful, beautiful soul, and you are a survivor. And I cannot believe 40 years. I've just been a little over a year, and it's been really I haven't gotten or really experienced. I don't know if it's radiation, but I get the direct energy attacks. Have you had those?
I'm laughing because I guess you haven't seen my pictures.
You're new to me, and I'm new to the group.
Okay. Well, you know what? God bless you for coming in and speaking out, because sometimes that's hard to do with the new TI. So good for you. Just Google my name, Midge Mathis, and my pictures will come up and my story, or you can go to Targeted Justice, and my pictures are there as well as my story. My pictures are being used in the lawsuit. I'm not a plaintiff, but the lawsuit that Targeted Justice has filed for $1.3 billion. Yeah, I've been horrifically burned. Wound up in the hospital more than I would like to admit, but horrifically burned more than 25 times.
My goodness.
Right to the point where you don't recognize me.
I just think that's commendable to you that you are such a survivor and have been through that. I experienced the V2K, the direct hits, and the hypnotism, and it's been a really, really hard year, but I do go out with my dogs, and that has helped, but I do get attacks in my car as well. But I will email you, and maybe I can talk to you a little bit more, and I appreciate you because I know DJ Chris is wrapping it up.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm trying to get as many people in. This is such a popular event, isn't it, Midge?
Yeah. Oh, I just love helping people. I've been there where this lady is, and I can't stand it. It just tears me up, you know. And
breaks my heart too.
Yeah, she's only been doing it just a short while, and you know that it's those first couple of years that are the hardest. But you hang in there. You hang in there, and we'll get you through this. What is your first name?
My name's Jessica, and they've been really, really awful the last 3 weeks since I have discovered targeted justice. I found the word gang stalking a couple months ago. I discovered voice to spell this last summer. Anyhow, I've been researching or journaling and then joining these meetings, and they've been directing energy hits on me the last few weeks, and they've been really, really rough on me. And so it is 24/7 chatter, and it's hard.
Yeah.
I can't even, I hope I don't have to do this much longer. I mean, it's just, I can't even understand why anyone has to go through it, you know?
Yeah, it's pretty awful. But you know what? Your life isn't over, and, you know, there's ways to stay strong. So you hang in there.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Jessica. Next question in line for Ms. Mathis. We'll be extending the recording. Actually, if we're done, we're going to end the recording and have open mic, and Midge can hang out with us.
I would like to ask a question real quick.
Hi.
Who's this? Is this Lily?
Hey, it's Lily. Hi, Midge. It's so good to hear from you. I haven't heard.
All right, make it short and we'll be good because I'm getting ready to do the recording. Go ahead.
Okay. So it's good to hear from you. I haven't heard you in a long time. I took a break from the community. My heart tanked last year. So, yeah, I've been targeted so hard for so long. I have low QRS voltage. I have 4 heart problems. So, I lost my job of 11 years and had to go on Social Security last year. So, well, actually June of 23. I'm okay, though. I have enough, and I'm content. And I come on the calls occasionally now. I used to moderate at Frank's. And when I discovered, Midge, that there were other people that this was happening to, I discovered from a friend in 2019. I made the decision, because the tortures were so profound, that I wanted to heal, right? And so I was going to listen. I was going to listen really carefully to people like you, and like Linda and Mel, and I was also going to listen to people like Dr. Barry Trower and Robert Duncan, and and people like DJ Chris too, because everybody has a story. And I was so upset when I realized that first of all, that meant other people were suffering this horror. Not only me. And then I thought, okay, why? So for me, I want to heal, but in order for me to heal and get relief, I got to understand why. And not just how. The how is complicated, Robert Duncan level of intelligence and know-how, right? So we know there's these complicated weapons. So that wasn't going to be my expertise, even though I was going to kind of try to figure that out. My expertise was going to understand how it's layered and compartmentalized and why. So I dove in. And when I say I dove in, I listened to every call for like the first year. And I listened to everybody's story. And simultaneously, I started buying books like Dr. Hall's, Dr. Duncan's. And then I befriended, and I listened to YouTube videos too, but then I befriended Dr. Robert Duncan. And we've been hanging out for like 3.5 years. Okay, we're good friends. And tutored me, and he joked. He said, because he got so beat up in the communities. I mean, we've hung out for hours during the day, like 6 hours at a time kind of thing. And he said, as a joke, he said, I'm passing the baton on to you. Because he goes, I got, it's just the TI, it's the effect of people who are angry and frustrated and want answers. So what I decided to do was very carefully, while of course we're good buddies, but I also wanted to learn from him and what he was willing to disclose to me. So what I decided to do was take everything I've learned from him and from people like you and from people like Targeted Justice and Chris and everybody in the community, Frank, Derek, and of course all the stories of the TIs, and kind of start putting the puzzle together because there were still missing pieces. I want to know, I want to heal, and I want other TIs to heal. And I don't want anybody to pick up a gun and do like Maine, like the new Maine shooter, those things got to stop. Those are TIs, ultimately, a lot of them are. So I was going to take what everybody was thinking and put it together. And this is the part I want to talk to you about, Mitch, because this, I quote you all the time. You said something really profound once, when you still do. And I think it's even on the website. And you said why they want to do this to you is they want to neutralize you. And that stuck with me because that made sense, but I still couldn't quite figure out what they want to neutralize me from because they do things that contradict the neutralizing in my mind, meaning the game they play. So it was really confusing, and I couldn't figure it out. So between Duncan and then listening to everyone, I finally realized what they're trying to do. And who kind of, so this is where TI's got to be really creative, and they've got to, when you listen to those YouTube videos, you've got to pay attention to key phrases without reading into it. But one time I was listening to a rally. It was some type of a religious rally. And General Michael Flynn was at the rally. And you know what he said? He was talking to this evangelical audience. And he said, you know what, everybody? Now, this is his announcement, like a rallying call. Well, you know what we need to do? We need to all get together, and we need to find common ground on a one world religion, something like that. That's what he said. We all got to reach agreement, he said. Now, when I heard him say that, what he was saying is he wants all the evangelicals to stop disagreeing, and he wants them to agree and find a common ground. So now we're going to incorporate that concept in your idea of neutralization. And I'm going to listen carefully. And what I've discovered with Duncan too and all the experts, what they're trying to do with these computer systems without telling anyone is they're taking away, obviously, your constitutional rights. This is self-evident. They're taking away our rights. Even more than that, to get more detailed, they're taking away your freedom of religion. And what they want to do when they say they want to neutralize you, they're actually, and this is for the religious program, not everybody's religious. We are a sample point of every religion on the planet globally. Some people are a sample point of every political group. So it depends on your belief. And what they decided at the Pentagon, underground, with Shriver Air Force Base, only some of those generals, not all of them, secretly, is they do not like religious division. So they started the religious war for some of us. And they were going to compete our brains, so to speak, and this good versus evil or dark versus light war. And it began in 1990. So in 80, it was a different kind of programming through all the operations that the CIA had committed, Operation Mockingbird and Operation Monarch and all those weird psychological things. And they were going to take the data and they were going to start putting it in programs and putting it through these computer systems to hit us subliminally and audibly. Some of us get VTK. And what they're going to do is they're going to compete us in religious groups. What that looks like, though, is once upon a time.
We need to wrap this up. We're in Q&A mode.
Okay, I just want her opinion. I want her opinion. So once upon a time, so and so. Yeah.
Can I just speak real quick?
Yeah, please do.
This is what it's about. It's about transhumanism.
Right. Right.
Yeah. So part of that is they want to wipe out our belief system. So this isn't new. This has been going on for a long time because those folks in the deep state that are doing this, they're Satanists, okay?
Right.
And they want to usurp God. They want to rise. They think they're better than God. And and I know more about this, and I can talk on this on a different another show. But you're absolutely right. They want to wipe all that out, and we're not going to let them. Oddly enough, the opposite is now just happening. People are waking up, pastors, but I know a lot about this subject. Some of the churches have sold out to the globalists because they have allowed cell towers to be put, on the top of their big church auditoriums, and we know that they're zapping everybody, but they're making money off of the globalists. So we'll talk about all that another time because he's got to wrap it up.
So
next person in line for a question to Midge Mathis. Come on in.
Hi, Midge.
Come on in, Krista.
Hi, I'm Krista from Colorado.
Hi, Krista.
Hey, I just want to say that you're my hero and you're an inspiration to us all. And I just admire you for keeping up the good fight and, encouraging others to do the same, that we all need to stick together, and together we can really make a difference. My question for you is, you had mentioned earlier that you can melt your implants, so I wanted to know how exactly you do that.
Okay, good question. I'm glad you asked it. So, because I have had, lots of scans, I've had reports, so I know exactly what's in my body. I've had some of the best doctors ever. And so some of these implants can be melted. So what you do is you just soak in a tub, you detox, okay? But you detox religiously, not just, 1 week and you're done. No, you've got to do it religiously. So you detox and you sit in warm water, but you just don't sit in there for like 5 minutes. You lay in there for like a half an hour, and some of this stuff will start leaving your body. Also, any type of vibration will help get this out of your system. So you get those foot baths that you can get, the electric ones where you put your feet in it and it vibrates, like when you go to get your manicures done, pedicures. So you get those, and it will help get some of this stuff out of your system. You can, and be very careful, but when you blow dry your hair and all that, well, it's doing heat. And so sometimes when you blow dry your hair, that will slowly start to melt some of these implants that are in your head. And I know a lot about this. I've had, surprisingly, doctors that have admitted to me what has happened, and they've given me advice. And that's a whole other subject as well for another night. But you can melt these, but you've got to be diligent. You've got to detox. And if anybody's getting hit with radiation, drink whole milk, supply your body with calcium because it sucks out the calcium immediately. Heart issues, same thing. Take calcium because it's depleting your body of the calcium.
Yeah, Krista, have a milk.
Have some milk and cookies. Anyhow, Krista, I'm so glad to meet you.
You're welcome, Krista. Did that help you?
Very much so. Thank you.
Okay, now we're going to switch the recording off and just have open mic. If you'd like to continue talking with Midge Mathis, you can, but let's go ahead and wrap up the recording. Thank you for watching and listening to this on your favorite platform. I'll be back next week again. Thank you again for listening on YouTube, BitChute, Spotify, or archive.org. I'll see you next week for show 98. Thank you for watching and listening.